Iran handed America a way out this morning. Rubio threw it in the trash before Trump even woke up. And right now, nobody in Washington is explaining why. Oil is sitting at $18 a barrel, not because of a hurricane, not because of a recession, because a 59-day war has choked the Strait of Hormuz down to 5% of its normal traffic. 150 ships used to pass through that strait every single day. Today, the equivalent of 7.5 are getting through. Everything else, the tankers, the fuel, the refined products that heat European homes and run Asian factories, is stuck. And this morning, Iran offered to fix that. Iran said, reopen Hormuz right now, today, if the United States lifts its naval blockade and agrees to end the war. Before you decide whether that's a good deal or a terrible one, ask yourself this. If you're paying $4.11 at the pump today, and Goldman Sachs just told you it stays above $4 through November, would you want your government to at least explain why it said no? Drop your answer below. Every comment gets read, the best ones get featured. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called Iran's offer unacceptable. The reason matters. Iran didn't ask America to surrender its nuclear demands. Iran didn't ask America to recognize the Islamic Republic or dismantle its sanctions architecture. Iran asked for one thing: end the war, and we open the strait. Rubio's objection is that Hormuz cannot open until the nuclear question is resolved. Not after, not alongside, before. That is the American position. Here is what makes it complicated. 1 week before Rubio rejected this offer, Rubio told reporters that Iran can have a civilian nuclear energy program. Civilian nuclear energy requires enrichment. The same man who acknowledged Iran's right to enrich uranium at civilian levels turned around 7 days later and said the Hormuz offer was unacceptable because it didn't resolve the nuclear question. Both of those statements came from the same mouth in the same week. They cannot both be the American negotiating position. Stay with this, because what happens next is where this story gets strange. While Rubio was at his podium in Washington rejecting the offer, Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Aragchi, was climbing the steps of a building in St. Petersburg, Russia, walking into a meeting with Vladimir Putin. Before he went in, he stopped for reporters. He said the United States, the world's greatest superpower, achieved none of its war goals. None. Not some, not most, none. Think about what it means for Iran's top diplomat to say that sentence out loud on Russian soil before a meeting with the Russian president, on the same morning that oil is at $18 and America's Secretary of State is rejecting an offer to reopen the world's most important oil lane. This is not a diplomatic slip. This is a choreographed message, and the location was chosen deliberately. If you want to understand what's actually happening in these negotiations, share this now before the next press conference buries the details. Because what Aragchi said next is something most coverage missed entirely. Iran's Operation Epic Fury was launched with documented public objectives. President Trump said the goal was preventing Iran from having nuclear weapons. Secretary Hegseth said it was the complete elimination of Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Netanyahu said regime change and permanent dismantlement of Iran's military. Vice President Vance said Iran must never have the tools to quickly build a nuclear weapon. 59 days later, Iran's government is functioning. Its foreign minister is meeting Putin. 2 of 3 nuclear sites survived the strikes. The enriched uranium is still inside Iran. The IRGC is still in the strait, still seizing ships. Hezbollah fired rockets into Lebanon this week. Now measure those objectives against those outcomes and ask whether Araghchi's claim that America achieved none of its war goals is opinion or just a reading of the documented record. There is something else from today that almost no outlet covered, and it may be the most important sentence published anywhere in the world this morning. The IRGC, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, the military institution that physically controls the Strait of Hormuz, that deployed the speedboats that seized the MSC Francesca, that laid the mines the Pentagon says will take 6 months to clear after the war ends. That institution published a statement on its official Telegram channel today. It said that controlling the Strait of Hormuz and maintaining its deterrent effect over America is the definitive strategy of Islamic Iran. Not a bargaining chip, not a temporary pressure tactic, the definitive strategy. Aragchi can offer to open Hormuz in a proposal to Washington. The IRGC can simultaneously declare that controlling Hormuz is permanent strategic doctrine. Both statements can be true at the same time if the political leadership's opening bid and the military establishment's long-term posture are not the same thing. That gap between what Iran's diplomats offer and what Iran's generals declare is the gap that Rubio's rejection landed in this morning. Russia is not sitting on the sidelines watching this unfold. Russia's envoy to international organizations in Vienna said today that the United States must abandon what he called blackmailing and ultimatums if negotiations with Iran are to move forward. Blackmailing. That is Russia's official word for American negotiating conduct, delivered on the same day Putin was receiving Araghchi's full briefing on why the Islamabad talks collapsed on April 12th. This is the same Russia that offered to take Iran's uranium off its hands, an offer Trump rejected. The same Russia that is now publicly setting conditions for American diplomatic behavior while hosting Iran's foreign minister. Russia is not a neutral technical partner in uranium storage logistics. Russia is a party to this negotiation with its own position and its own pressure, and today it made both visible. Here is where the economics land. Europe has spent an additional $28 billion on energy imports since February 28th. That is $587 million every single day, paid extra above pre-war prices for the exact same amount of energy Europe was already getting. Not one extra molecule of oil or gas received. Just $587 million more per day for the same molecules taking longer, more expensive routes around a closed strait. Goldman Sachs has updated its oil forecast. $90 per barrel for Brent crude in the fourth quarter. Citibank's base case is $80. In Goldman's optimistic scenario, gasoline does not return to pre-war levels for the rest of this year. That means $4 gas through the summer, through the fall, through November. Trump's midterm elections are in November. The Republican Party holds the House by 4 seats. 4 seats. Goldman Sachs's optimistic forecast is the economic weather those 4 seats will be defended in. Traffic through the Strait of Hormuz is running at 5% of its pre-war daily average. The U.S. military has boarded vessels and confirmed the interception of 38 ships. The mine clearance operation, according to a Pentagon intelligence assessment briefed directly to Congress, will take 6 months after the war formally ends. 6 months after a peace agreement is signed before the strait functions normally again. That clock has not started. There is no peace agreement. There is a rejected offer, an IRGC telegram post, a foreign minister in St. Petersburg, and a Secretary of State who said no before the president commented. Trump's public response to Rubio's rejection of the Hormuz offer as of this script was this: if they want to talk, they can come to us or they can call us. You know, there is a telephone. We have nice, secure lines. Iran wrote its red lines in a document delivered through Pakistan last weekend. Those red lines on nuclear issues and on Hormuz have not moved from the positions that broke the Islamabad talks after 21 hours of direct negotiation. The American position, as Rubio's rejection demonstrates, has not moved either. A secure telephone line between two positions that have not changed does not produce a deal. It produces a secure record of two unchanged positions. The pump is at $4.11. It has risen 5 straight days. Goldman says it stays near $4 through November. The midterms are in November. The strait is at 5%. The offer was rejected this morning. Trump said there is a telephone. 3 questions. Answer any one below, and the best analysis gets featured in tomorrow's daily update. Question A. Iran offered to open Hormuz in exchange for ending the war. Rubio rejected it because it left nuclear issues unresolved. The IRGC simultaneously declared Hormuz control is Iran's permanent strategy. If Rubio's rejection holds, and the nuclear question takes months to resolve, at what point does the domestic political cost of $4 gas through November exceed the strategic cost of accepting a Hormuz opening before the nuclear deal is fully written? Question B. Aragchi told reporters outside the Putin meeting that America achieved none of its war goals. Iran's government is functioning. 2 of 3 nuclear sites survived. The uranium is still in Iran. The IRGC is still in the Strait. Hezbollah is still firing. If that claim is factually accurate based on documented outcomes, what does it mean for the credibility of the military threat that is supposed to be producing Iranian compliance in the next round of talks? Question C. Russia is calling American negotiating conduct blackmail. China provided geospatial intelligence on American troop positions. The IRGC declared Hormuz control permanent doctrine. Iran's offer was rejected this morning. The positions have not moved since Islamabad failed on April 12th. Which external pressure point, oil prices, midterm politics, Russian-Chinese alignment, or military escalation, breaks the stalemate first? And does it break toward a deal or toward resumed conflict? Drop your answer below. We read every comment. The sharpest analysis gets featured in tomorrow's update. And if you want the daily breakdown before anyone else sees it, subscribe. This is what we do here every single day.